Hello everyone and welcome back to A Machine for Pigs. I'm looking forward to continuing this. The story is getting even more interesting as we progress.
You seem to have undergone quite a profound conversion in Mexico, Mr. Mendes.
You could not have seen it yourself and not, Professor. As we disembarked, even through my fever, I saw the detritus of this so-called progress. I saw starvation and disease, rot and destruction polluting the waters of the Empire. We are ruiners, you and I, and all of us, and we make the world unclean.
And you took it upon yourself to act as Redeemer.
Professor, I would not be so presumptuous. I am merely a conduit. I am constructing an architecture to wrestle our damnation to the ground and smother it with steam.
Super interesting, and as usual, it's not like he doesn't have a point.
He's here! He's here! I said you'd come.
These must be the bilge pumps. I am at the heart of the saboteur's efforts. In order to keep his flood in place, he must have disabled these fast pumps. But he was clearly rushed, and thus far he has left most of his work incomplete. His clumsy efforts reduced to simply switching off all he could find. If I can locate the controls, the remedy will be simple. That is excellent news. And there we have that special enemy once more. I believe despite being in another dimension, they can still hurt us, much like the Koenig from Amnesia, the Dark Descent.
That trickled to still waters. I dragged myself deeper into the temple, downward ever, towards a wind that held the voices of my children, beckoning me to set them free.
The music in this game has no right being so good, man. I'm really glad this game kept up with the theme of being a Dark Descent. Obviously, that was one of the single worst scares this game has ever done. That didn't scare me at all. If anything, that was more just funny. Was that the pig mask behind the ladder? I was going to give this game a 8 or 9 out of 10, now it's getting a 0 out of 10, just for that scare alone. What a cliche sound to go with it, a violin? No, that wasn't a violin, stupid, that must have been like piano keys or something. Either way, leaving the roasting of that jump scare aside, you see, I like the pig masks appearing out of nowhere like that, but having the pig mask just floating behind the ladder suddenly, that's just really strange. It's not like this game to do scares like that. But yeah, this game keeps the theme of going down a dark descent, both physically and also figuratively, for lack of a better word, where you're descending further mentally. I briefly mentioned this in the Dark Descent, but in the Dark Descent it was a constant descent down into mental darkness as well as you learned all of your past mistakes. This game keeps that going. Another pump. It seems once again I must engage it. I cannot help but feel I am trapped in some great game, forced to undertake endless Herculean labours for the promised reward of finding my darling children. This game does very much feel like a sequel to the Dark Descent, despite being so different to the Dark Descent. No, no, oh no. Oh dear! Didn't like that, that actually freaked me out. I don't know why I feel the need to say every single time that it freaks me out. You can tell by my verbal yelps and whatnots, but... Yeesh. Also, I haven't said anything about these maps so far, but I believe this is... I was gonna say it's the entire machine, but it's just a bunch of facilities in the machine, I think. Or at least every facility that's connected to the machine. And it is quite a large machine. And we only have one more area to visit. We need to find another... Oh. Not even a worry. I will also say that after learning everything Mandus did to create this machine, it feels like a very bad idea to be turning it on. But even so, you're forced to do it for the sake of Oswald's children. I thought that was a teddy bear at first, but it just appears to be some kind of sloppy food. I have absolutely no idea why you would even want to go down here. It just feels like a very dumb idea. And dumb it was. This is utterly pointless. There's nothing down here. You know, in Amnesia Dark Descent, you would have gotten a blue glow signifying that you solved something there. You don't get that in this game, and I do actually miss that quite a bit. That was pointless and made me feel bad. Let's just backtrack until we find where we're actually supposed to go. The flood is drained. I have prevailed. The saboteur is beaten. My heart pounds with excitement even as my head spins and shudders in feverish anticipation. How this machine now throbs about, sensing its rebirth is imminent. The final descent beckons me to enter, as Lily once lay on our wedding bed and summoned me into manhood. Oh no, do we have to go? Oh, the water's down, so it doesn't matter now. Oh, I should have just climbed down it. I took unnecessary damage there. I think after going through this so many times, I'd remember which way I'm supposed to turn them. And also the timing of it as well. Already in the next area. The children dancing. The stairs are steep, the sun beating on his neck as he pulls them up. Veins pop on his foreheads. But he cannot deviate. He is a man driven by love. Only love. I'd say that's a great way to describe Oswald. I swear there was something I wanted to talk about with the previous notes, but I can't remember it for the life of me. Oh yes! Oswald's notes are getting more and more frequent. I think that creates an awesome sense of Oswald's, as he says, anticipation as he gets close to the end game. And also just the general sense of, like, unease and franticness he must be feeling right now, with how much he's writing more and more frequently. Since he doesn't speak that much, kind of like, he doesn't say anything like Daniel does. He inner monologues a lot, but he doesn't say anything out loud. So I think the frequent notes that he writes creates a great sense of unease, I suppose you could say. Curled into my bunk, all sick and sweat-ridden, they clean my room about me, but I can only hear the voice from within with that gentlest of stones. Within that gentlest of stones. It sings to me and I dream of a great machine. We build a new world from the ruins of the old. We will plant flowers in the rotten ribcage and let them grow to hold the sky from falling. I remember how it whispered to me as we rolled, sick and heaving, and I remember when we pulled into Southampton and we both wept, for it was every bit as much a desecration as it had been sung to me. And then we came to London and I set it upon the mantelpiece, and we went into the house and gathered the servants and set on recrafting them. And then I went into the garden and buried those tiny shattered skulls under the weeping bulges of the rhododendrons. Interesting. I wonder what he's referring to here. Also, it makes total sense that he got this idea while sick in his bed. There we go off the frantic note writing, the heart of the machine. When they first said Daddy, my heart was molten, as if blood frozen upon the ground were held to the sun to fall and slop, and they were inseparable, always together, one soul in two bodies, and my love was all-consuming. I would die for you, I whispered to their sleeping faces. I would kill, I would set this world to ruin to protect you. I have fought through dark tunnels, grey engines, the foulest of beasts. I have set my covenant and drained this flood. And I am come for you now, my darling boys. The way he speaks messes me up a lot. I like trip over my words because he has a very verbose way of speaking. Much like his great-granduncle, Daniel.
Then to London, and you set me upon a mantelpiece, and then you went into the house and gathered the servants, and reset, you and I, on recrafting them, and then you went into the garden and buried those tiny shattered skulls, alone. For your children, Mandus, to spare them the world you have created, for us all.
The machine is by far one of the most interesting things of this game. I love how the machine itself here looks a lot like a heart. I've already mentioned that before, how the pipes and all that look like arteries. It's insane how...
Dear God, dear Christ, what is this place?
I think that is the first time he has spoken out loud in this game, and it makes total sense. Obviously outside of talking to the man on the phone. But it is insane how he's built all of this. The machine here itself is humongous, and all of the pipes and intricacies, but even just the area it's in, this humongous giant metal underground area. Sure, he had the pigs to help him create it, but even with that aside, what he's built here is astronomical. I don't want to go there yet. It looks a little too important to go to right now. I don't want to miss anything.
I tried. I tried so hard. I will uphold my promise. I will always protect them for you. My eyes are your eyes. My heart is your heart. I will rip them loose from this rotten world and set them to burn. All to save them.
He does remind me a lot of his great-great-uncle. That being if his great-grand-uncle is indeed Daniel. I suppose I should just say Daniel. He does remind me a lot of Daniel. Although I would wager he might even be a better person than Daniel. He's caused a lot more damage than Daniel has, but I still think Daniel caused a lot more torture than Menace has. I mentioned this briefly before as well, but everything Oswald did to cause others pain was simply just a result of what he was doing rather than the intention. Unlike with Daniel, where torture was the intention. Although, of course, he was aiming for a certain result, I suppose. But he took much more enjoyment in the torture than Oswald did. For him, it was much more clinical.
And they feel no pain. The process is completely humane.
Humane, Professor? That we judge the acceptable level of suffering by the human condition? Ask the beggar, Professor. Ask the orphan. Ask the whore. Ask the starving, Professor. The weak, the sick, the filthy. Ask them to define your humane.
I always want to find things to say about what he has to say, but they always leave me dumbfounded. Oswald certainly has a very strong negativity bias as well. I don't think I've heard him say anything positive about anything other than his wife, children, and his machine. Compound X, is that this stuff? I don't think I should be in it then. They all look pretty open to me now. I'll soon find out if I'm wrong. A lot of these noises in the background aren't pig noises. I suppose it could be the creaking and screeching of the machines, many pipes, and also the steam it lets off constantly. Why is there just a single rotten apple here? I guess someone planned to sit down here, read and eat, and simply just forgot or didn't have time or whatever. I'm not sure what this machine does, but it feels like a horrible idea to be turning it on. And I'm sure Oswald feels the same way. Now to find the ignition controls and start the machine once more. Elated, I stride forth upon these catwalks. I am coming, my darlings. I have almost saved you. Then again, he doesn't seem too concerned. Perhaps he is just so focused on saving his children that it's completely gone to the back of his mind.
Hartley, the air is thin. their little faces tell? No, Mandus. They suffocate. They suffocate.
If Oswald was able to think more clearly and actually listen to everything this guy is saying, I feel like he wouldn't have been so eager to go along with this. I mean, there's a lot this guy says that's suspicious, and how does he know what's happening to the children? How does he know all of the little details about it? You know, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and there's a lot of mysteries about this guy. But Oswald is so set on saving his children that he ignores it all. But surely he must be very concerned about this whole thing. This one's still red, but I guess it'll turn green after I pull this.
Daddy, Daddy!
Somehow I always manage to avoid gazing at the action. What's wrong with me?
Now, Mandus, set them free. Set them all free.
There's this constant feeling of wanting to turn back. I mean, obviously, he is not referring to Oswald's children. There is something very suspicious here. But alas, much like Mandus, we have absolutely no choice and have to pull this lever, or push it, I suppose. Because the only other thing to accept is that his children are gone. And obviously he does not want to accept that.
I live. I breathe again. I rise. I will rise to bleach the sky and still the water. I will spin the world wheel and set the future upon the path to redemption.
Where are my children? You promised me my children!
My time is come. More pig. More pig.
Boys, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Mandus, Saboteur, you can't come in. No, you can't come in. You must sleep in the yard, bad piggy. Dirty pig, stinky, filthing animal, you bad children, you stinking child, you filth. I wonder what this is in reference to. Perhaps the pigs kept escaping. After all, Edward and Enoch did discuss that they saw a pig outside.
And, emerging, I raised my head to an uncaring sun, and I cursed this world of pain and despair. This civilization built on the ricketed bones of the unfortunate, on the greed and swell of mammon and empire. Cradling a stone egg in my jacket, I kissed my children farewell, and I crawled my way home.
Can a man construct himself anew? Can a man, on realizing who he is and what he has become, tear himself apart down to the bricks and begin again? Are our souls just this, tiny cogwheels and clockwork and intricate machines, to serve a function that, upon reflection, we may set to a new task? Can a man defined by his actions, defined by that which he now finds abhorrent, set to sabotaging his body, his machine, until those children of his soul turn in a new motion, and he may awake to a new sun, a new year, a new century with hope in his heart. As such, I reach my hands to the exposed wires and I ask myself this: is redemption possible for such a creature as I? And if not, then surely better to die amongst my creations than to continue to live as a monster. A very similar conclusion to what Daniel reached after he rediscovered his past mistakes. This one is very beautifully written. And also is a great point on if second chances are actually possible, even after doing such a severe thing as what he has done. So as I'm sure you have guessed by now, the voice on the phone is indeed the machine that has been talking to him this entire time. And his children were unfortunately already lost. I'm sure it comes as no surprise, but the machine was simply just using them to force Mandis to bring him back. Very impressive that Oswald was able to write that while climbing a ladder. Betrayed. So it is done. The saboteur was me and the voice on the telephone was him. But what of us? How do we connect? Surely I cannot be responsible for all I see about me. I cannot remember. All I can grasp is a moment when the world split in two pieces and the innards of humanity fell from the orifices, turn agape into my open, bifurcated heart. I wonder if Oswald had a change of heart before he lost his memory. Surely he must have if he had sabotaged the machine.
Where are they? Where are my children?
Why do you ask, Mandis? You know the answer well enough.
And now... Oh, actually, I'll finish saying it after I read this note. Children really are the most wonderful, useful creatures. The unfortunates from the orphanage have proved indispensable in cleaning the larger steam pipes. It appears that matter from the slaughtering process may indeed vaporize at source, but drifts like dust through the air and lodges in the pipes, causing them to foul periodically. We shut the pressure down and send one of our pixies into the pipes to scrub the reconstituted fat away. Armed with just a shortened broom, our little explorers venture into the dark. Of course, we can only keep pressure down for a short period, so they must be fast, or they risk being trapped and boiled by the superheated vapors when they rush back into the system. Then we will be sending their comrades in afterwards to scrape free the cooling mess. The survivors tell me you can reach all manner of places within the complex through the pipes. I smile, tell them I'm so proud, and then feed them to the pigs. Yeesh. That's one of his more messed up things. Him and Daniel are so very different but so similar. And I can't figure out which one of them is the better person because they're both so horrible. We spent the first half of this game restoring the machine, but now we need to spend the last half sabotaging it once more.
What are you doing, little piggy? Do you think I will allow you to sabotage me again?
I want my children, you unholy bastard!
It's interesting seeing Mandis speak to the machine, because the machine in a lot of ways is like Oswald's old self before he lost his memory. So in a sense, he's speaking to himself like this, and a lot of the words he says to the machine can be reflective of the words he has to say for himself. Things are going to get a lot more scary and a lot more dangerous. As the machine stated, it won't be quite so easy.
Will it hurt them?
A cleansing fire always burns, little Mandus, but it purifies and it makes anew. Did it hurt to carve out the fevered flesh? Did it hurt to cut free the gangrenous foot? Ask instead this: can we save them?
When did I say that? That is not me. That is not me!
It's so incredibly interesting. The writing in this game is really good. It seems as if Oswald and the machine spoke frequently. I wonder if the machine had an influence on Oswald in any way. There is a spoon of medicine, I says, and it's a silver spoon what you did get born holding. And it's a silver spoon what you did get born holding. And it's a silver spoon what you did get born holding. Huh. Ever so painful for Mummy dear, but grasped so hard it was in a little screaming red fist. Later you used your spoon to dig a hole in the garden to get all the way to Mexico. And then you did eat worms with your spoon on the way to stay fat. This spoon was the same you gave your twins, and you used it to dig a hole into their clockwork souls, and you ate up their hearts like soup on the way to keep you fat. Fat little mole, where you will dig next? Where will you dig next? I asks, you and your little silver spoon made from the silver spine of your children, and wrapped in the hair of your dearly departed. Dear sweet Jesus, my darling Lilibeth, what have I become? I don't get what he's saying here, so I'm going to read this for a little bit longer, but while I do, it's interesting to note that this was December 1st, and then on December 29th, we have the letter of him self-reflecting on what monster he's become. So I do think that the December 29th note was a note he wrote before he went and sabotaged everything, and also before he went to bed and woke up without any memories. I don't believe it's fully explained, but he didn't take anything to forget. Like Daniel took the amnesia potion to forget, and Justine took a high dosage of some kind of chemical drink to forget. Our boy here, he just forgot because he's sick. In fact, it's impressive he was able to do all he's done while sick. This man, Oswald, he never ceases to stop amazing me. But I believe the mole with the spoon is Oswald. Oh, obviously it's Oswald. He's saying in his usual grotesque and robust way that he went to Mexico, came back, and took up the hearts of his children and ate it? No, actually I don't think I understand this note. I need more context to understand this whole thing. And I'm sure I'll get that context later on. Also, there was a pigman here. I don't know if I need to be careful or not. Oh well. I'll worry about being careful when it becomes apparent to me that I need to be careful. Mandus is the saboteur. It seems that the pressure system is indeed the Achilles heel of this facility. Something I clearly did not realize in my first clumsy attempt at sabotage. If I reroute the steam, I can wreak havoc. To be fair, in your past self, Mandus, you were at the height of your illness, so surely you wouldn't have been thinking straight, my friend. And I will say, I mean, it's certainly in my power to not say anything if that's what you would prefer. But I will say that I do really like both Daniel and Oswald, despite all they've done, and it's amazing that this game and the previous games can get me to really like these characters as people and characters, while also having them commit such atrocities. Once again, this game is doing a surprisingly good job of making me feel very uneasy and afraid, something I didn't expect going into this. Also, while things are quote-unquote more quiet, I will say that the plot twist of his children already being dead and of that voice being the machine is sublime. And I really want to talk about it, but I haven't gotten a chance yet, because things just keep happening. But perhaps at the end of the episode before I end it, or later on in a more quiet area, I will discuss my thoughts on that. Some form of steam regulator. I'll wager if I disable it, the damage caused by the rushing steam pressure could be catastrophic. Certainly enough to force a temporary stalling of this entire engine. That should cause the steam pressure to drop. Mandus, you clever old goat. I can feel this horror, this grief, this betrayal boil into fury. I will not stand, I will not be undertrodden. This machine is my heirloom, I am the overman. Much like Daniel, you're very much your great-great-granduncle, if I am correct in that. Just use your hands, bro. I messed up, it knows where I am. It's not gonna stop, it's gonna chase me and hit me. It's gonna hit me, I'm old and weak, it's gonna kill me in one hit. I'm old, have I mentioned I'm old? Breathe easy, champ, you've got this, let's see what I can do. Do I remember seeing a form of safety anywhere? That thing knows where I am, the machine has told it where I am. It is undeniably heading right for me. I'm gulping a lot right now, and that's because I might actually have to replay this whole game. I can totally see myself dying here. Okay. Think. They wouldn't do that without giving you plenty of time to escape. There has to be a route, even if I have messed things up by not responding immediately. There is leeway. They always give you leeway. There is nothing behind me. There is a pig in front of me. Obviously, I'm not to run to the pig. I must run past the pig to the right and just search for something. That's all I can do. I can't stand here lollygagging. I just need to start. A ladder would be most advantageous. That is precisely what I asked for. Goodness me, that was scary. I kid you not, I was gulping, man, gulping. Who gulps? That's so cartoonish. Don't you dare kill me for using the ladder. Oh no, I don't like this. Into the pipes and out of the engines. Now quickly, through the pipes before the pressure returns and they fill with boiling corrosive steam. Since the machine snarl itself about me, its unholy inhuman mind coil and slick, and it send its dark tendrils through its conduits to repair the damage. I return to the streets, I will fetch help, and I shall lead the people upon the factory, burn it down, and seal this evil place underground forever. Just gonna regain my breath a little bit after that. When I couldn't click the ladder, I was both embarrassed and horrified all at the same time. Yeesh. So then, I just want to quickly say before I continue, I can't imagine how it feels for both Daniel and also Oswald to have learned of their past evil deeds. What you would feel in that moment, I can't even begin to imagine it. Justine would be the most interesting, because obviously depending on what you do, she's a very different person than her before memory counterpart, and she doesn't change into a good person when she gets her memories back. She just regresses to the evil that she was, or continues being the evil that she was, depending on what you do. All about me, the thunder of machinery, the blast of boiling steam. I cannot pass without fear of scolding. I am a lobster cracked, my circulation stagnated, my vital motions impeded. The steam will boil my hole unless I can find a way to shut it off. It's interesting that they give you the note of what he did to the orphan children when sending them into these pipes. It's, in a way, he's kind of taken punishment for what he did by having to suffer through the same things. I have a feeling that's going to be a common theme.
This is your doing, Landis. This is what you dreamt it to be.
I will stop you. I will save them.
You are too late. It begins. My work has begun. Kill them, my piggies! Kill them all!
That's what their machine does. It seems to mainly just command the pigs. And the pigs are being used to commit mass genocide. There's a so-called cleansing, a reset on the world. It is interesting also that upon losing their memory... Oh, I was going to say upon losing their memory they become good again, but that's not so much the case. Both Daniel and Oswald had a moment of self-reflection that made them good once again, and made them realize their evil ways and want to change, and then they lost their memory. So I do wonder why Justine goes back to being evil once she regains her memories, but not Daniel and Oswald. But I guess that's just because they had already resolved to change and be a better person before they lost their memories, while Justine didn't. She was still very much all on the evil gang route. So that's very interesting, and I love that. Anything to save them. Of course, all the offal we can itself from our system is donated to the workhouse, making them perhaps the best fattened unfortunates in the whole of London. Anything to save them is such a cool name for this level, and really reflects Oswald as a whole. He would do anything to save what he loves, and that's his best trait and also his worst trait. That's been the problem this whole time, is he would do anything to save anyone. What I said would have been a lot more cinematic if it just loaded immediately after me saying that. Kinda just got creepy music for a little while. Not that I mind it, the music is great. Well, those can't be fireworks. So what is that sound I hear? Don't worry about these pigs, they aren't a threat to me, or us rather. They are, however, a threat to the good people of London. Reasonable response. I've never saw that guy in my life. There's just an actual person to your left when you leave. That's insane.
Oh God, no, what have I done?
Return of the naked individuals. I don't know why that guy was naked. I don't think the pigs are exactly stripping them of their clothes. Perhaps he was just in the bath or something. Oh no.
Mandus, I know you are out here. I own this city. I am this city.
No! This is not what I meant! This is not what I meant at all!
It's very interesting he says that, because I'm pretty sure mass genocide was exactly his plans. Even when you can hear him on the phonographs, he speaks very as if he's all for this idea. No one misses the poor. Round up some orphans and the world will thank you for it. Disappear a whore and a gentleman applauds you. Cull a beggar and a lady walks safely again. I hate them. I hate them more than any of the others. This privilege, this pretension, these so-called leaders, these pillars of society, these rich and fanciful. They wear their filth on the inside, but they are no less dirty. I have plans for them all. We'll feed them, and then we will feed from them. He's very compassionate. To feel so much anger over people he just doesn't know at all. His compassion and his care. He has so much of it. I can't imagine how helpless Oswald must feel right now, seeing his plan actually enacted.
Redeem yourselves. Redemption is at hand. Enter the cleansing and set your souls free. For you are born into filth and will die as pigs. Only through my redemption can you ascend to the skies and claim the heavens as your kingdom. Fall on your knees. Ashes, bones, and ashes. For the pile will reach critical, and we can have such a burning that this city will shine as a beacon of redemption for the world!
London's burning, London's burning. God forgive me, what I have unleashed. I stand and smell the burning city, I see ash upon the wind. I hear the roars of the sickening beasts and the screams as they fall upon the city and drag its people below for the slaughter. Now I begin to understand what the other composite ingredient of Compound X must be. And I also understand this. It is my responsibility now. I must find a way back to the heart of the machine and complete what I started. Oswald has a very strong mind, I will add, to be able to still be so resolved and determined even in a situation like this. No. I think if I were to miss a note, it would be this area because there is so much going on. We have set aside an entire wing of the mansion for their parties. We invite them from near and far, and we guzzle them in with fine wine and the finest cuts in all of London. My God, Mendes. But these chops are rather divine. Who is your butcher? Feed them up, for the wine and the grains will also lend a character to the product. Keep the flesh relaxed, opium in the champagne and gravy. A hog roast every night for the Duke and the Duchess. An actress battered and sliced, an artisan in every mouthful, an importer of fine tea stewed in his own leaves. They bicker and breed under the table, by the fireplace, on the carpet stained with wine and fat. Whilst long dead nobles of deformed grace and cold stare watch them from gilded frames along the crooked walls. We will hose it down later as we shovel them into our machine. A lot of his hatred and disgust is focused on the rich and the higher ups, which makes a lot of sense. Might I add, by the way, the music in this area is incredible once again. I stand and look at myself in the mirror, in hand, and my reflection grins at me, and his mouth is full of the sulphur mustards. Vain fool, he sneers. Are you really so very different? Do you genuinely believe your works of evil are any greater than the rest of them? You are simply a weak man, a product of his age, the same as any other. This is empire, cretin. This is killing idiocy. This is the natural result of the social Darwinism. If you are evil, then this world is evil. You just let the blood run in the street rather than hiding it in the poorhouse. You hold the blade and slide it home yourself. You do not pay a man to do this for you where you cannot see it. If you are evil, at least yours is an honest evil, and that alone makes you Ubermensch. And thus I wash my hands and take to bed. Very, very, very interesting once again. Oswald's mental status, as well as Daniel's mental status and Justine's mental status, it's all so very interesting to discuss and also just to witness.
Do you hear me, Mandus? This is what you planned.
That's what I'm saying, machine. Okay, I do believe I'm being chased. Oh no. Woo! Sprint, sprint, sprint. Ain't no way, ain't no way. You are an a-hole. How you catch up to me? I held shift the entire time. Streets and alleys. There were too many of these damnations. These beasts loose on the street to all have come from the engine rooms. As I emerged, I counted the 3 of the damnable phonetic lifts. which suggests the machine has been planning this for some time, smuggling routes to the surface all about this neighborhood. If my bearings are correct, beyond the alley I should stand directly over the ignition rooms, and I will wager that I find a fumatic there. It will carry me back to the machine's heart.
Beast! Creature! Where are my children? Where are my children?
He still finds himself asking this. Surely he's... Oh, he already knows the answer, but... perhaps he just cannot accept it. I can't say I entirely blame him. Wait! No. No. Alright, to explain why I'm being so dramatic, I missed a note. I just remembered in the crates, underneath them is a note. I'm gonna have to quit and redo that whole thing again. Well, it's not that much content. I could easily go through it again. I'll either jump cut or just end the video. I'm not sure yet. I don't think you guys want to see me go through all that again, so... you know what, I'll just end the video and then I'll start the next video from the crates area. Yeah, it's a good idea, me. I should pat myself on the back for that. I could jump cut it. That's a lot of extra effort I don't want to put into it. And also it would mean it'd have to take me another day to upload it because... I don't know, my setup's weird, man. I don't have to explain myself to you. I don't even have to explain myself to myself. And I'll make sure that's known to myself. So whilst we ascend back to the streets of London, before we gaze upon our mistakes once more, I will end the video here. Thank you all so much for watching. This was a truly incredible part. I feel as if I was too dumbstruck most of the time to really get my thoughts across. You know what, this is distracting. To really get my thoughts across as much as I wanted to. Being clear and concise was much more easier in The Dark Descent than it was in Justine and A Machine for Pigs. And that's because there was a great deal of psychological conversation. A lot of psychological emphasis. And that is not my strong suit. Even so though, I've had a ton of fun playing it and trying to formulate my opinions into words and try and figure out my own thoughts. It's been a great time. This story is extremely interesting and I think I should do a great deal of thinking before we reach the ending. Because there is a lot to say on this story. And a lot to say on all of the games really, but this game especially has a lot to say on its story. And I don't exactly expect myself to write up a large review by the end of the game, but I do want to get some major opinions out the way. So I'll do some thinking before we reach the credits, and hopefully by then I should be able to formulate my thoughts and opinions much better. For now though, this has been an incredible part once again. I look forward to next time, it's going to be great. Thank you all so much for watching, it means a lot to me. Stay tuned for next time, and bye for now.